What's going on YouTube? Welcome to episode 111 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zero Elite and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. We've got a couple of things to talk about today before we're going to hop into today's episode. First, be sure to join the Discord channel. I'll have a link in the description below. I'm doing a poll right now on what my next ship build is going to be immediately following the Enterprise D. I won't go over the whole list. I've talked about in the past. You have to join the Discord channel to see what the list that I have populated now. But once you join, be sure to click on the next build tab and submit your vote, because I'm only going to be taking tallies for that vote while I'm working on the Enterprise D. The day I stop working on the Enterprise D, I'm going to stop taking votes. So if you want to vote on what my next ship build is going to be sure to join the Discord. Also, make sure to like and subscribe this channel, because I have my goal right now of hitting 1,000 subscribers, and I want to show off the first bit of concept art that I've put together, and I'm actually really excited about this because I've been talking about that once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on the 2016 Star Trek Beyond Enterprise A. But I've actually been thinking about it the last couple of days, and because I've already actually built this ship out. Those of you that are familiar with my channel, I actually already built that ship, and I just started thinking like, well, where's the fun in building that exactly one for one? Like, I feel like, I've learned a thing or two between now and that time when I actually built that ship out. Not only that, there maybe there's one or two things I might want to change about it. So without further ado, this is the current concept that I have right now for the Star Trek Beyond Enterprise A, and I only actually made a couple of slight revisions here. Based on where it was at before. Other than a couple of bits of detailing here in the neck, really the major changes that I made here were in the pylons. That they're actually going now backward at an angle here, like the traditional Enterprise A should be, in my opinion. Um, As far as the engines go, really the shape of them is pretty much going to remain unchanged. There's really just some minor detailing that I updated on the sides here, and then of course here on the lower side of the pylon, it's more blended in with the neck that goes right all the way down into the shuttle bay. But this is the bit of concept art that I have. Want to get people excited about this build. This isn't probably going to be my next build. This is probably something that's going to be on the horizon for some time. So it'll probably take us a little bit of time to get to 1,000 subscribers. But this gives everybody something to look forward to. Because, sometimes things don't always pan out the way that you want them to, or maybe you're not necessarily sure how things are going to go. And that's actually going to tie into the next thing I want to talk about today. Because like I said, we're doing things just a little bit different on today's episode only. Because I actually had somebody say something in the Discord channel the other day, and actually really touched me. And she's probably going to be embarrassed when she sees this episode that I'm actually doing a shout out. But this actually really touched me, because I've actually been going through some tough times myself right now, and I'm going to try not to get too choked up about it, but I actually had a very close family member just suddenly pass away. My first cousin, he tragically died not even 3 weeks ago. And believe it or not, this channel has actually been a way for me to keep things going and keep myself going. And so anyway, without making this about myself, I want to read to you what Music Girl posted on my Discord just yesterday. That she said, "I am a worship leader at my church, and I just had to share with you that I use your Enterprise D in my worship set as an object lesson. I showed them a picture of my progress when the ship was just a skeleton. You really don't know what it's going to be. Then I showed them the progression of the project. I explained that our lives are that way. When we go through hard times, which I have been for over 2 years now, we don't see the finished product. All we see is bits and pieces. So we have to be patient and endure through trials, and eventually we will see the whole picture. So this is another reason why I'm thankful for your videos." And that actually, like, and it's hard right now, I'm not getting choked up about it, but like that actually really hit me right in the heart, because I never in a million years would think that my videos I'd be putting out would be reaching people in that way. And I just think that's absolutely amazing. So Music Girl, I comment back to you the other day, so I just want you to know that actually meant the world to me. And anybody else out there that, if my videos are doing something like that for you, it does truly mean the world to me, because this is something that I started just over 2 years ago now, and I've been loving every single minute of it. But anyway, off from the mushy stuff, let's go ahead and jump right into today's episode. I've already blown up today's episode. I don't even know how long I've been talking. Whatever. We're going to just do it live today. So anyway, we're going to be moving on, talking about the Enterprise D, of course. And we're going to be getting some detailing done on the outside of the ship, which is something we've been working on for the past week now. Now, one of the things that we're going to be focusing on is our windows and on the saucer. So I'm just going to let this video play out, and of course in certain areas here, I'm going to be talking about certain things. I actually need to... There we go. Full screen. Usually I already have that set up for you guys, so if you see me going screen to screen, I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to talk about that stuff first. But we're going to be counting 5 blocks out from the exact middle row here, and on the 6th row we're going to be putting a block. And I'm doing this because we're determining our center, and we're going to be doing a middle row right here straight back until we get to the cut line, and that's going to help us establish our first set of windows that we're going to be adding on the saucer here. And I'm building this cut going off the cut line that's directly connected to the captain's yacht. Now, you just saw I took an extra brick quartz slab out. I went one too far back, so I need to put that back in. And from our middle here, of course, we're not going to be cutting out the middle, but we're just going to take 3 blocks on a side and do the same thing on the left side. And we're using the tinted glass. Just want to have a nice dark color so this way our windows pop even from a distance. And now we can get rid of these builder blocks here, or that we're going to use, or that we use to get our center going. One of the cool things that we're going to be doing today, and I haven't really been able to show it that much on some of the other areas of the ship because we really haven't done too much of this, but we're going to be adding these windows in a way today that's going to help us to make the ship look a lot bigger than it is. Because at the end of the day, my Enterprise D is actually only 21 decks tall, and that's just a little bit less than half of what the actual Enterprise D is. And of course, getting back into this just briefly here, we're doing the same thing. We're bringing our cut line up again to the next cut, so this way we can determine our windows again. And now we're going to be cutting out what will eventually become some detailing, because on the underside of the saucer it has a little bit of yellow pinstripes. We're going to be adding that in here. But anyway, there's going to be a way that we can basically add in several rows of windows here, even if we don't use all of them on the saucer. That'll help make even the saucer alone look like there's way more decks on it than it actually has. Which I think this is actually going to be really cool, because I've never actually built windows in this way on a ship before. Those of you that have followed me on my previous builds, whether it's in a tutorial just showing progress videos of the builds, you know that I really don't normally add a ton of windows. But that's going to be the exact opposite with the Enterprise D. And it kind of has to be, because I think most people will agree on this, that when you think of the Enterprise D and windows, they're all over the place. Like, you can even say, like, the original Enterprise A, for example, the Shatner version, that wasn't necessarily a small ship. It didn't have a ton of windows, you know? So, like, when we were working on those ships, like, we can get away with stuff like that. But on the Enterprise D, since, like, it's such a characteristic of the ship, we're really not going to be able to get away with ignoring that, you know? So it's just going to be something that we're going to have to add in here. Now, we're going to be doing just a little bit of detailing here and there while we're really getting into the windows today. I added just a little bit of a pinstripe on the yellow on the neck. I think we're going to accentuate that out just a little bit on the sides here. Now, on the Next Generation, the show, I actually never realized that this yellow stripe was here. Because, you really don't see any of this detail on the show. But when you look at models of the Enterprise D, and don't take my word for it, look it up yourself, it does have little hints of yellow pinstripe here and there. So that's something that we're definitely going to be adding on the Enterprise D as we go. Because this is one of the things I've talked about, that, um, when you take the Aztecing away, it becomes a little bit more difficult to detail this ship. So what it's going to take at this point is having the patience to find a whole bunch of different reference material, whether it's different models or things that people have made online, concept art, you name it. It's almost all fair game depending on how closely you want to stick to the Enterprise D. One of my main things that I did just to try to keep my ship as accurate as possible is I pretty much stuck to the Eaglemoss Enterprise as far as my detailing, and then there was a model, or not a model, but a toy of the Enterprise D that I used as a reference also. And that's probably a little bit less accurate than the Eaglemoss, but I was okay with it because it was giving me just a little bit more detailing that I was missing that's going to help us in bringing this ship to life just a little bit more here. Now you can see that we're adding in just a little bit of pinstriping going along the sides of our neck here. And I'm going off the first row off the flattest side of the saucer. And you don't have to have these exactly where I'm placing them. I'm trying to call it out so this way you know where you can if you want to. But again, all these things that I'm doing today, it's really just meant as a loose guide to help you on your way. I've had people in the past that have commented on my channel are like, oh, well, I had a mistake doing this, or I had a mistake doing this. And I'll sit there and tell them, like, don't worry about it. This is a great opportunity to figure out a solution to the problem. And I think that they end up thinking that I'm being mean or something, but I'm really not. I'm trying to get them to approach it in the same way that I approach my own build. Because at the end of the day, it's a little bit different for me where I don't have a reference to go off of. I'm just doing it. And so basically what I'm doing at that point is I'm throwing something down. I see how it looks. If I like it, cool. If not, I do it again until I'm happy with it. And that's what a lot of what I'm trying to get a lot of people on the channel to do, that when you ask questions like that, that's why I give you that type of answer, because I'm trying to get you in that same type of mindset so that you can become a better builder yourself in that same regard. Because a lot of this, whether you realize this or not, is trial and error. I've just had the fortune that I've built a lot more of these ships than maybe some other people have. So I have a little bit more of that experience. So that's why it doesn't look like I make like that many mistakes. And it's only because I've been down that road so many times before, you know. But that's not to say that even with the Enterprise D, we had our fair share of revisions that we made in the neck, and then also our engines, and then the deflector dish. But I think it's still important, and it's vital to show all these things, because hopefully some of you, whether you're working on the Enterprise D or maybe another build, maybe hitting these type of scenarios will help you in figuring out different solutions to solve a problem, basically. And that's just really how I try to look at it. You know, this is the end result of that. You know, taking your time, not being afraid to make mistakes, and if you do make mistakes, thinking about what you can do to correct that. When you start to do these things, I promise you, you will slowly but surely become a better shipbuilder. Just something that's going to take time, because you know, I can tell you right now, the very first ships that I built on Minecraft did not look like this. They didn't even look like my 2009 Enterprise, which is like one of the first videos I have on my YouTube channel. There was another version of the Enterprise. Maybe one day I'll actually show it, because you can actually find it online. Like if you look for the 2009 Enterprise in Minecraft, you can find pictures of it because it's on Google. But it wasn't nearly as good as what I ended up doing on that 2009 Enterprise revision, which is basically what it was. So basically what I'm getting at here is that the stuff just takes time, you know? So don't be afraid to take your time. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We're all going to do that, but just try to learn from them, you know? So right now we're making our cuts for what's going to become our lounges. Well, actually on the back side here, the neck, where we're adding them, these won't be the lounges. These will actually be windows for, this one on the left side is going to be for the, I don't know if you call it a farm or I guess that's basically what you call it. But I have a farm on the Enterprise D, which I thought was pretty cool to do. Because I kind of thought that, not everybody is going to want to eat replicated food all the time. So it kind of makes sense with a ship this large that you'd kind of have like a herbology area where you can grow real food, and maybe they had real types of produce and things like that. That made sense. And then this other side here, this window is actually going to be attached to our mess hall. Um, but I'm going to be doing these on the same level. It's kind of hard to tell right now in this working on the back row here, but I'm adding them. I'm going to add them on all four corners of the oval here. And when we go out to the sides, it'll be a little bit easier to see the placement. So this way you can actually come back and get your alignment right. Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So now you can actually count your way out here. And that's all you have to do. Again, this is exactly what I do to get my placement. And I want you guys to do the same things too. Because I promise you, you take on these traits, you'll get better. So going off of our captain's yacht, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth row, that's where we're putting those two windows. And it's the 1, 2, third cut row out on the left side, or left and right side. Simple as that. If I'm not mistaken, I think I actually already did the windows on the front and sides in a previous episode. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that I already did. Pretty sure after we get done with that couple of blocks in the front there, we're going to be switching over to adding in some windows on the front side of the saucer here. But that doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty good. With Enterprise D, less is more. That's kind of what I've learned from working on this ship. But all these little details coming in, it adds up over a period of time. Now, one thing I can tell you right now is that since my center is off by 1, and I need to, looking at the ship looking back, I need to take off this left side, so this row right here is actually my middle. Pretty sure. I'm actually, where I'm doing all my placement for my windows, I'm actually going to have to slightly adjust these. But what I can tell you is that because this was something I actually just recently caught one of my mistakes on. But I am going to come back and fix that in an upcoming episode, but it won't be for a little while because it was something that I actually just recently did. So just bear with me on that mistake. But again, even myself, even I can't make mistakes. It happens. But again, what are we going to do to fix that mistake? But anyway, let's get our windows in right now. And pretty much what we're doing is we're just determining our pattern. Don't really be too concerned with, well, I want all these windows to match up with my decks. With everything that we're going to be doing on the saucer, at least on the outer lip here, I can tell you right now, most of these windows are not going to be matching up with decks. And this is exactly where I've been talking about that. We're going to be doing this to make the ship look a lot grander and a lot bigger than it is. And these first couple of rows that we're adding is really only just going to be the beginning in what we're going to be adding in, because by the time that we're done, it's probably going to look like there's at least 10 or 12 decks in the saucer section alone, which will help because looking at this thing from the outside and then you come inside, you can start to feel like, okay, this does feel like a full-scale Enterprise D. So this was really my workaround to fixing that error because, again, I talked about this, that when I built my Enterprise D, I knew that it was going to be a scaled down version because I was trying to make it within the constraints of the render distance on Minecraft. And even then, looking at the ship from the front, we still kind of lose the pylons in the back of the nacelle, in the very back of the lower hull, looking at it from the front, looking backwards. Every other angle, we can see the whole ship. But, if I would have went full scale, forget about it. We would have went way out of render on this whole thing, and there would have been issues, proportional issues on it. But, this is my solution to get around that. Add in your extra windows, make them facades. I learned this by doing by playing Planet Coaster. Because one day it just dawned on me when I was playing Planet Coaster, because I was actually decorating my park, and my computer at the time couldn't handle everything that I was doing, because I was building out fully fleshed sections of the park, and then I just started to think, like, what can I do to fix this problem? And then it just dawned on me that, like, when you walk through Disney and Universal, I mean, you guys may not, some of you may not realize it, others might, but the majority, if not all of the buildings that you see, they're facades. Maybe one or two of them are, they're built into gift shops or restaurants and whatnot, but other ones, they're not even real. And then, like Disney, for example, Magic Kingdom in Orlando, I don't know if the one in California is the same thing, but the one in Orlando, it gets smaller as you go further up, and they built it off perspective. So from the ground, the castle looks massive, but the reality is the castle actually gets smaller and smaller as it goes upward. And they did that off of perspective, and then that's when I thought of that, that's when the wheels really started turning. And I was able to apply that into Minecraft, which I think is actually really cool. And this is one of the reasons why I say it's good to play other building games, because you'd be surprised with situations like that where you might learn something and you figure out a way to transition it over into another game. If I hadn't been playing Planet Coaster, I might not have come across that solution. I might not have ever come across a solution to do what I'm doing right now. So it's just kind of cool how that works out. I think when we're not even counting the other decks, we're just working on the lip of the ship right now. I want to say we're going to end up with 3 on top, 3 rows on top, and 3 rows on bottom. Because I'm pretty sure all this week, except for the final episode, which I think Saturday's episode for this week will end up being back on the inside of the ship. But I'm pretty certain that Monday, Wednesday, or of course this one's Monday, but Wednesday and Friday we'll be on the outside of the ship again. We'll be doing more detailing, getting some windows done, some other detailing. But then on Saturday, I believe that's back working in engineering. So those of you that have been looking forward to getting back into the interior of the ship, that's definitely coming. But it's been kind of weird on this build, because when I built the Cerritos, I did a pretty good job of doing everything at once. And the Enterprise D has just ended up being so massive that I've ended up having to take small breaks from certain sections of the ship, which isn't something I necessarily want to do, because I really liked how clean the Cerritos tutorial turned out, because everything was right there with each other. The Enterprise D, some of the stuff is a little bit more separated. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's not necessarily exactly what I would have wanted to do when I was doing this tutorial. And again, I may end up never coming back and doing another ship this big again, just because of the amount of time that it's taken me, not only to get to this point, but to get where I'm at currently in the build, and then all the work that I still have to do on it. Now, I mean, I am making progress on it. I'm slowly but surely I'm actually getting to a point where I can call certain sections of the ship done. I'm actually done with the majority of the outside of the ship. There's only a few areas of windows that I have to add in to fully form everything out, and then I have to do the registration for the saucer. Then the outside is actually done. The going up from the saucer, from the bottom upward, the captain's yacht, that's completed. The entertainment deck is actually completed at this point. I just finished that the other day. I'm getting ready to really jump into the crew deck, but I've already started that out. There's already a couple of rooms that I've built out on it, but I'm really going to start fleshing out a lot of those other rooms on it. And then I have to build out the medical deck. That's going to be directly above that. So the 3 main decks on the saucer, one of them is completed, 2 are still needing to be finished. Now, going up from the medical deck, we have your primary shuttle bay. That's already done. Bridge is already done. Now you go down from the saucer into the neck. The neck is actually almost all the way done. I think there's only 2 decks on the neck that I actually have to finish. And then the only other thing that I have to do is the very, very back lower side of the lower hull. The deflector dish is done, main engineering is done. I just really behind main engineering that I really need to work on that area as well. But once I get those three main areas completed, not counting the neck, which would bring it to four, then this thing is going to be done. Not necessarily sure how long that's going to take me to do. I'm not really in a rush to make that happen. Whatever it ends up being, that's what it ends up being. I'm not going to sell this tutorial anything short, because when I look at it, I've put a heck of a lot of time into it, and I really want to make sure that I do this thing justice, you know, because I'm actually really proud of this build so far. It came out so far, it's exceeded my expectations, you know. It really has, and it's actually been a blast to build. I didn't think I'd have this much fun building the Enterprise D. Not gonna lie, there are times where it frustrated the heck out of me, specifically with the neck and the deflector dish, but I was able to get around it, you know, and figure out a way to make it work. But I'm also getting excited over the stuff that's going to be coming up on the channel. You know, I don't know if Voyager will end up being the next build after the Enterprise D, but that actually may end up still happening. Even though I'm doing the poll right now on my Discord channel, Voyager on that poll is actually still #1 right now. I'm not even surprised that actually happened, because before I decided to do a poll, Voyager was the #1 request that I had on my channel. So again, you know, if you're interested in participating in that poll, be sure to join the Discord, because I'm not going to wait until the tutorial series is done on my YouTube channel. I'm talking about when I'm done working on the ship myself. That's the day that I stop the poll, because on that day, that's when I'm going to start working on the next build. I'm just going to go right into it. So this way, you know, I'll still be putting out episodes for the Enterprise D at this point, but I've already pre-recorded all this stuff. And then as soon as the Enterprise D is done, my next build, I'll hopefully be well into it by that point, and maybe almost even done. Because I already know, like, all the ships that I have on that list, they're not nearly the size of the Enterprise D, so it won't take me that long to do a tutorial for them. So that's definitely that's definitely something to look forward to. I can honestly say, though, even if it doesn't end up being Voyager, any ship on that list that I have, I'd be happy to make it. It'll be fun either way. Because, you know, this is something I'm going to be doing going forward, so, you know, don't let this discourage you if either your ship's not on that list, or maybe the ship that you voted on isn't the one that wins. Don't get discouraged, because this is something that I'm going to be doing indefinitely. My YouTube channel is not ever going anywhere as far as I'm concerned, especially after how some people have recently made me realize what it means to them. It's reminded me what it means to me, and you know how fun it is. But yeah, you know, there's the best is yet to come, basically. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up today. I think I've rambled on quite enough. I don't even know how long this episode is going to be, but it's going to end up being way more than 21 minutes. But that's okay. But anyway, I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. And if you did enjoy this content, please help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And new subscribers, don't forget to hit notifications on so as get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, you can always catch my new Minecraft videos dropping Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. If you can help me out, share this channel, I'd really appreciate it. We've got our goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to be dropping that Enterprise A tutorial from Star Trek Beyond, which I showed the concept art in the beginning of today's episode. As soon as we hit 1,000, we'll be doing that tutorial as well. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or just dropping by to say, hey, be sure to drop a comment below or join the Discord, and we'll have a conversation about whatever. But anyway, yeah, that's going to wrap it up. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. And of course, I'll catch you in the next episode. And what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in Discord.